Hope everybody's doing good today. So as I said, and I think one of the last videos, we got the bottom, the top, that whole edge going down. When we throw a bit of primer on it and it's wet, we can look down the side. It looks fairly straight. Straight enough that we can put our high build on and be able to block it. And then there was some low spots in through here. So we wanted to make sure we got enough on that we had something to sand off. Because we're hoping to keep that level, and if you just do like little chunks, I find it easier to make it level if there's more. We also had an issue down here where there was a repair, and you could see it was kind of bubbling. You couldn't see it on video, but anyway, we ground all that junk out, we filled it, and I used the fiberglass because I mixed the fiberglass. I don't think we had to do that, but it definitely don't hurt. So we'll run some 80 grit on that, get it a little lower than we need to, and then we'll fill it just like everything else. I remember using my air file, and this is what I use to do a lot of my work. It's an Ingersoll Rand 315G, 3000 RPM. But anyway, I like this one. It seems okay. There's a red version. And I noticed when you're buying these, the red one was probably 20 bucks more than the black one. But I saw a couple reviews on the black one. It seemed good. They gave me that part number, and I thought, well, if it's good, we'll try it. And I do like it. I think it might be a little lighter than the red one, just going off looks, but who knows. It's still heavy enough. It's good construction. It looks like it's well built. I mean, it's an Ingersoll Rand product. That's usually good. The handle here is not plastic. It looks that way, but it's actually painted aluminum. So anyway, when you take that and you go up into here, the nice thing is you can get it to go pretty far. But I think, as I mentioned before, I was watching Old Bondo Billy, and he recommended this. So I just got the box here and ripped it open from the Frowny Jungle Store. So this is a Astro Pneumatic 888S. Now I don't know if that's the one he had, but he said he had the one that was 2 3/4 by 11 inch. This is what came up. And I mean, you don't have to buy this from Amazon. You can buy this from some of the part stores, because Astro Pneumatic is out there. So let's see what we got. Sorry about my crappy video. I'm doing this all one-handed. Now, I've had Astro stuff before, and honestly, they make a pretty good product most of the time. I don't know if it's top of the line, but there's been a few reviews on these, and as Billy said in his videos, he runs his all the time, and even though it's shorter, I tend to agree with what he says. If you know how to work it, you can do straight work. Now, there was a time where I really depended on the longer something was, the better. But I've gotten to the point now where I just run my regular little DA. And that's not an expensive one. That's from ADT Tools, also on Amazon. And the reason I bought that is because if I look around here, well, somewhere there's a second one just like it, which I run a small disc, and I pulled this off. So I can run a 3.5. But anyway, I ran one for 4 years nonstop, and I work with my tools every day. So the old one's still working just the way it did when it came out the box, so I bought another one the same. So this is our 11-inch line sander. And it don't have the clips. So instead of the strips of paper, I guess we're going to be using the stuck-on stuff. You can see how much shorter it is. Oh, wow. Weight-wise, that's actually pretty nice. I mean, it's still heavy, but I mean, I can throw this around where this is like, you know, it's awkward. Definitely a two-hander where this one, there's just enough weight on the front that when the hose is hanging off it might balance itself out and be half decent. Now it says sticky or Velcro. So it looks to me like that is for the sticky pad. And it could be that you got to choose between one and the other because there's no other parts in here. Yeah, if you wanted it to be Velcro, you'd have to probably stick some Velcro on there. Or maybe you change this bottom pad right here to a Velcro one or whatever. But we're not going to do that because we don't care about that. Don't know what the warranty is on it. Didn't read it. I guess we could look at that. Let's see if it's an easy thing to find. I don't want to bore you with that crap. 1 year limited warranty. Okay, now we know. So basically, when I got a box for a tool like that, I'll just let it kick around for a year or two. And when I happen to look at it down the road, go, oh yeah, look, it's a 1 year warranty and it's older than that. So we got some other stuff here. Oh yeah, right, I know what that is. Let's grab a knife. Oh, and I didn't know that. This is also Astro Pneumatic. If you're doing a lot of this all the time, and it's like, you know, it's for a living, this is a good way to pick this stuff up. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Cool. So it's basically a box of, what is it, 50 or 100? I think it's, yeah, 100. 100 4-inch Bondo spreaders. Yeah, they seem as good as anything else. They're nice and yellow instead of whatever other color, but look, display box, fold here. So if a store bought these and had them on display, you just have the top piece open. You'd have that showing somehow. Yeah, usually, I think they just stick them like this on the shelf. But anyway, we're not going to worry about that. You can get 4-inch, 5-inch, and 6-inch. Of course, the price goes up as they get bigger. But realistically, 4-inch is pretty much the bad boy we use the most. Sorry if I'm moving the camera around too much. But yeah, so we'll throw that in the box. 4-inch, 4-inch. So this is the one you're going to use the most. And even on big areas, I tend to use this. You can pull the stuff out of the bucket, out of your can. Now, I don't use these as much, but when I'm working on something like this, I do. But I mean, I'll buy a few packs of these, and you'll get 4-inch, and then you'll get the long, narrow one. Look, this is a 4-inch we cut down. But I mean, this is the one I find I use the most. So I figured I'll buy one of those. And if I want a bigger one, I'll buy a set. I mean, I probably got spares, right? So I went through a set, didn't use the big one, probably use the others. Here's a couple sets. There's a 3, 4, and 5-inch in both of these. You know, so, and there's another big one, 5-inch. And I think you can get a 6-inch too. Is that what that is there? I think that's a 5-inch. I think the Bondo ones, maybe they're bigger. Yeah, so there's a 5-inch and a 6-inch. But you get the idea. So when I need a couple of these, I find the 5-inch you might use too a little bit. The 6-inch, not so much, but I just buy those in those little packs, and that's usually enough. There's my other sander, just so you know I'm telling you the truth. These sanders, I gotta say, I'm a big fan of these sanders. And I'm gonna take you for a walk because I'm gonna show you the box. Just so you know what I'm talking about. That's it right there, 6-inch random orbital. ATD 2088. It's a 6-inch orbital. And the reason you see this little guy which clearly don't look like no 6-inch. So when the pads get old, I throw them aside, and eventually you get a bunch and you can throw them out. But what I did with this one is I marked a circle on it, just a little bit shy of what this 3.5-inch paper was. And what I do is I put that in the end of my drill press, and I set it up where I can put an X-Acto blade up and I can slowly cut through. And then the plastic here is the same. I come through the back side, and basically you just kind of let it turn like you're milling something, and it'll slowly go through. And then at the very end, I taper it off. Now the one thing when you do that, it's super soft, right? So this is not for making things flat. It's for getting in places, but like even down there where it kind of curves up, this is going to conform to that real easy. And I mean, usually I can find this stuff pretty cheap. And where did it go? But 3M does, it's like a brown colored paper, and you get a roll of it. And every time I see it on Amazon or eBay, and my wife works at Benson's Auto Extra. Here we are. This is it here. This is from 3M, and it's just in a bag. You get a whole bunch of these. And every so often they're blowing them out, and I'll usually pick out like 1 or 2 of them. Now that being said, if you want something rougher, because that's I think a 120. Let's have a look at the back just to make sure we're giving you the right info. Yeah, it's 120 grit. Now I find it very sharp. It'll take it down quick. They don't last very long. But I mean, you can take one of those, stick it on, just grab some scissors, cut the extra off. Now if you ran a 3-inch pad on it, you could get 2 out of one of those. So then you can use any of these. But like I say, those go on sale all the time, and they're like 10% the normal price type deal. So I buy a lot of those. But anyway, I'm going to put you on pause for a second, and I'm going to set up that sander, and we'll try it out. Now, I don't know what this little aluminum thing is. You can see that shape there. But basically, I shove the paper in the end of it. Wow, sorry about my... But there you have it. There. Sorry, I ended up making you go all upside down probably. But yeah, I shove it in there, and then one-handed you can pull this across and hold it and cut it, and then stick it down. And I mean, the pad's a little narrower than the paper. I believe this paper was, I think it was worn or something. And I believe this stuff came from Amazon. It just comes on a roll in the bag, and it doesn't have a sticky back to peel off. So the one with the sticky back seemed to be really good. But this one seems to work just fine. You can get different grips. We're doing just 80. Because that's what I got. I should have ordered some other grits, but you can see how that's going to fit, right? But keep in mind the hose comes out the back, so we're probably going to use 2 hands. Probably going to come up and run it this way, get a nice straight line here, then bring it out and blend it right into where we know that gray primer's straight. We'll probably gnaw some of that off. But once that's real nice, because we had a low spot, and here there was like, it went a little wavy on us for whatever reason. So, but I mean, we had to reconstruct this up to about here, so there's all new steel. So, you know, things move, and, you know, 1963 Coupe de Ville, it's a pretty old car. So let me get a nipple in that. We'll set up the camera on a tripod. Good to go. washer hose. It's definitely lighter. This is 80, so it's a little bit aggressive. So you gotta watch when it catches, because it's so light it'll kick around. So there she is. It works good. It's easy to manipulate. The only thing, if you catch something that's a little uneven, if it bites, it might kick a little. That being said, so does that. And even though that might kick less because it's heavier, when it does kick, it's kind of worse. So I think it's good. I mean, I'm kind of surprised. It went fairly quick. Maybe because it's small. But let's see if we have... Set that over there for now. I'm going to grab a can of primer real quick, and I'm just going to shade this just so that we can see how straight it's going to look in the wet. I probably took a little more off there than I wanted, but then I came back up and went across and then came back down into it, so it feels really good. So I'm going to grab a little bit of primer and we'll see how it looks. Just basically wet the body line to catch it in the light, make sure it's still where I want it to be. We're good. I hit that line again, we're good. That line's really nice and straight. It's already starting to dull. We're just using a little Dominion Sure Seal one step. It is a self etch. It's also a bit of a high build because we had a little metal coming through up here. This is all going to be sanded off anyways and end up on the floor when we go to sand the car down and get it ready for our high build primer. But I don't know if I can show that. You can see a little bit of stuff reflecting in there, but it is flat, flat, flat. It's very straight. A little bit of sanding marks up in there, but we gotta, again, we're nowhere near the finishing. As far as rough goes, we're done. I'm going to take my sanding block and I'm going to catch this edge just to take these little edges off. I'd done that already, but now that we had to refill it, you can see there. But other than that, You saw me do that in pretty much live time using 80. So now that that primer's on and there is a bit of a high build, some might stay, probably not a whole lot, if any. But I'll probably go to a 180. And I might actually start about midway here, make sure my paper's tight against this. And I might actually just come up and give that a quick pass. And then use the 180 in a block, finish it by hand. Most of it'll be gone, the primer I mean, but I mean the bodywork is nice and flat and straight. So then when we do our high build, we're going to use a CRE 321, which I talk about a lot because I like that stuff. But it's thick, it'll seal it, it'll go on bumpy, but it gives us lots of material to block. And I mean, you don't have to seal it and all this, but we're not going to put that on the whole entire car. We're going to put it on a lot of the car, and then we'll come back over and probably prime the car before we paint it. So there you go. The Astro Mini Straight Line Sander. It's an 11-inch. Part number's 888S. I'll thank Bondo Billy because he uses one of these and talks about it all the time. You're right, sir. It is awesome. I mean, if you can use that at all and you're decent with it and you're thinking about something smaller, I just did that in live time. Now, if you're doing a big fender like this, I haven't tried it yet. But when I come to do this, I might go out of my way to use that just to get the first kick down. And then we'll go to 180 on the other one and do it a second time a little longer. And of course, when I do this, I'll be using a bit of guide coat. Up here, I didn't feel that necessary because I knew there was only so much room. That being said, if you don't got a lot of experience, guide coats and stuff help you. It's definitely your friend. I'm probably middle of the road, and I had no issue doing that, and I'm happy with that. I mean, I'm happy enough with that. We could probably sand that smoother, prime it, scuff it, and paint it. So there you go. There you have it. This is awesome. And as far as the Bondo spreaders that came in, I mean, it's a 4-inch plastic spreader. I'm sure those will be fine, and they're cheap. You're going to use a lot of them. And when they get crappy, you know, sometimes we'll take these and get a little bit of that stuff off them, you know, a little bit of brake cleaner, wipe them off with a shop towel. But you get to a point where that doesn't work. But when they're new and shiny, you just leave it like this instead of trying to clean it all off. Boom, brand new underneath. So we'll knock all that off after, but sometimes you don't have enough on there to do that. But as they get worn and scratchy, everything sticks, and next thing you know, you're scraping it off with a razor blade and all this. Time is money, so use that for the bulk of it, and you can be tossing those right, left, and center. And honestly, you don't, but once the stuff don't come off easy, cut them up into little specialty pieces to get the little grooves or whatever, and then throw them away. That's totally worth it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful and you got something out of it. So far, that's as good as that. Just does a bit of a different job. Very cool. And the funny thing, it feels the same in your hand because it has that same shape and everything. The only thing I did notice, like this one, because of the rubber, there's no vibration, where some of this other stuff, like this has a hard knob. For the little job I just did, I didn't really notice it. And quite frankly, that's not something that bugs me. It didn't seem to vibrate more than the other one. This has definitely got a nice grip to it, though. It's the same exact shape. It's almost like they copied the D, but that rubber is nice. Thanks for watching. Cheers.